I focus on this with some decisiveness in my upcoming book, Practical Magic. I believe that we as seekers are very alienated from our own wishes. And I think that overcoming that alienation is within reach. It's so important because going back to the way that we use language, the way that language can reinforce limits in ourselves that we don't even really know are there. Even in the most private recesses of your mind or your psyche, and I see psyche as an amalgam of thought and emotion, even in the most private recesses of your psyche, if you were to ask yourself, what do I want out of life? I would say, at least speaking from personal experience, that there's a lot to overcome in terms of internalized peer pressure. Peer pressure is just a fact of life that every individual has to deal with. And I very frequently encourage people, and I work on this myself, to try to, in relaxed moments, whether it be periods of meditation or periods maybe just before you're falling to sleep at night, just before you're waking up in the morning, times of real bodily relaxation. Try to peel back the onion and recollect what your wishes were from your earliest cognizant memories. We probably hold memories, I'm sure we hold memories in our body that that precede um, the psyche, the memories that we hold in our psyche. And yet the bodily memories, they're not always so easy to get at. They can take a long time to get at. It's a lot to strip away. But the memories of the psyche, because they've entered our whatever this apparatus is that we call a long-term memory, it seems to me that they're more easily accessed. And it seems to me, at least based on my own experience, and I can't imagine my life is exceptional, the memories that I have from earliest on really go back even to age 3, maybe a little, maybe 9 months into age 3, but they are there. And if you look at those things, um, you may catch a glimpse of who you really are prior to peer pressure, because peer pressure just it really tamps down on people. Um, a friend of mine, Ptolemy Tompkins, who's a great esoteric writer, he said, I mean, this is just a personal impression. I don't know whether this is an absolute truth, but it was his impression that by the time a kid is age 9 going forward, as he said it, by the time a kid stops uh, talking to themselves in the bathtub. I don't know if you talk to yourselves in the bathtub, but I used to. And by the time a kid stops talking to themselves in the bathtub around age 9, because they're embarrassed, they don't want somebody to hear, that's when peer pressure has you. And it's very tough. But if you can capture that wish that you had from the very earliest points of conscious memory and cognition, you might really find something remarkable. You might find something about what you really want. My suggestion is when you find that, keep it a secret. Don't tell anybody, because the first thing they'll do is take it from you. The first thing they'll do, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. What about that? Or what about service? Or, you'll get hit with one of these words that we love to use to limit people. And I think we have to be very private in certain parts of our lives, not go around talking about this stuff, because you may find a wish that doesn't read well to your peer group, and save us from our peer groups. No sooner do we find our way to a subculture that's supposed to be liberating, then that subculture comes up with all kinds of rules and faction splits, and everybody wants to be in charge. And just because people are in a subculture doesn't mean that they're not uh, bullies or obstinate or bossy or whatever. And people love enforcing rules. We love telling one another what to do. When all else fails, tell someone else what to do. Tell someone else what's wrong with them. So keep it private. Keep it private, and and don't worry if it clashes with what you're supposed to believe.